Hello everyone, welcome back to another build video. Today's video is going to be a time lapse of a timber framed extension. So as we're watching the video, I'm going to try and explain a couple of the things that we've been doing, and hopefully you guys will find this entertaining and you may also learn something from it. So this is going to be a 3-meter extension, meaning it's going to be 3 meters deep, so that extends the rear of the house by 3 meters. The width of the house is about 5.5 to 6 meters. So the foundation on this is a little bit different in that we will be creating some pad stones, and we've also got some concrete lintels which will be part of the foundation. So the first thing we need to do here actually is to move the existing manhole, or that's for the sewer pipes. So right now they are in the footprint of the extension, so we need to move them probably about 2 meters to the right so that they're on the outside of the extension, because we're not allowed to build on top of manholes. So before we remove the old manhole, we are cutting into the main sewer pipe and we are installing a new PVC inspection chamber. Most manholes nowadays are in PVC as opposed to brick, and this is what we're doing here. So we do need to get permission from the sewer company to do this. There's a procedure that you need to go through, and once they're okay with what you're going to be doing, then you can get on with it. So this sewer was actually live, so we did have to block the sewer up slightly up the line so that we could work on it. You got to work real quick, real methodical, and then once you're done, then you can unblock it and then it start flowing down. So these are the 2 pads that we've done. As you guys can see, we filled them up with concrete, and we're also cutting into the existing house, and you can see these big heavy concrete precast lintels. They basically are going to sit on the existing foundation of the house, and the other end of them sits onto the concrete pad stones that we built. So there is no concrete underneath these lintels. It's only supporting one end on the house, and the other end is sitting on the concrete pad stones that we dig and filled. So these 2 longer middle lintels are suspended between the 2 corner pad stones as well. So as you can see, at the junction of the corner, the right angle corner, both sets of lintels are sitting on that pad stone, which you can see me standing on. So we make sure these are all nice and level. And I'm just really cleaning up the concrete pad stones, because we're also going to lay some block to fill in the gaps in those areas. So all of these blocks are making up the foundation of the extension. So being this is a timber frame extension, the design allowed for a slightly lighter foundation, because the building itself is lighter than your typical brick build extension. So what we're doing here, this is still the foundation. We're going up 1 course of blocks, and this brings us to our damp proof course level. As you can see on the neighboring side, where it's going to be difficult to render, we're doing this in brick because we won't be able to actually weatherproof those bricks, so it's best to do it in brick. So now we're putting our damp proof course down, and this is the point that we would get our second inspection. First inspection was when we did the digging. This the second inspection is the damp proof course. So now we are doing what's called the oversight. We are taking out, this was an old patio area, so there's lots of hardcore sand, some concrete as well. We had to drop the layer down. So we had to take all this old stuff out, and then we'll bring our own hardcore in. So now, as you guys can see, the old manhole, which is still working, is right in the middle of the extension. So now it's time to remove the old manhole. We do the same thing again. We block the sewer up a little bit further up in our new manhole. We're going to break these old clay pipes out, cut them, and then we're going to extend them in a straight line with some pipe using some rubber couplings. So this basically essentially just creates a straight line to flow underneath the extension. We're also adding in some gullies for the guttering and also for the kitchen waste. So here's our sub base now. We put all our hardcore in and we compact the hardcore core really well. Compact it a couple of times. Then we put a layer of sand. We've also put some vent pipes to extend the ventilation from the existing house, which is a vented floor, so that air can circulate from the outside of the house. So as you can see here, we're just tidying up around the new manhole, putting some of these stones back. Now we're moving on to the oversight again. So we've put our damp proof membrane down. That's the black material that you see. It's a PVC material. It's there to prevent damp from penetrating from below into the concrete slab. So what we're doing here is we've got a concrete mix which is being delivered by truck. We're just wheelbarrowing it around because we've got fairly easy access here. So no need for a pump this time. And what I'm doing is just getting it level as I can by hand. It doesn't have to be completely level at this stage because we do have another layer of screed to go on top of this. So as you can see, we're just wheeling it all out. We've got about probably 5-6 inches here of concrete, and then we'll have about 3 inches of screed. We do have some insulation to go on top of this as well, about 3 inches again of insulation. So quite a substantial floor base here, oversight. So you can see we've got it nice and tidy. We'll let that set and then we'll be back to work on the timber frame extension. Okay, so it's been a couple of days now, so we're back. So today we start building the actual timber frame. So we're going to be building this frame on the ground. So we're building, as you see, the left hand side, the neighbor side wall. And we just build it down and then we raise it up. It's very heavy, so you need a couple of guys to lift it up. Once we do that, we'll secure it to the house with bolts and chemical resins. Now we're on to the other side, doing exactly the same thing, exactly the same size. And then we bolt it to the existing house there with screws, bolts and resin chemical bolts. Now we are joining the two together. We're building the rear section and we're building that as we're going along. So we're just copying the existing design of the house, where you see you've got the double French doors there and the window for the kitchen. We're essentially moving them right forward. And now we're preparing for the roof. So again, we are bolting these wall plates to the house using the chemical resin bolting kits as well. And then we hang the roof with hangers off those wall plates. So the other end of those timbers sits onto the timber frame at the front. And some of the joists you'll see we're doubling them up and we bolt them together. This is where we're going to have a skylight, a sky or roof window. So we need to double up the joist to strengthen those areas. So we're putting all our noggins in now, as you can see. And next we're on to sheathing the exterior of the building. So this is going to really start to give strength to the building and stop it from flexing. So we're using this boarding on the side. I think it's about 11 mil. And on the roof we put our furrings, which are the strips of timber that go on top of the joist to give it slight slope. And then we cross batten it with 2x2s as well to allow for ventilation. Once that's done, we're putting some 18 mil OSB on top of the roof. So we are going to be GRP fiberglass in this roof, so we need to put OSB on top. So once that's all that OSB is in, we can put in our fascia boards, prepare for our drip trims and so on. And then we start putting in some GRP trims as well, ready for the fiberglassing. So we just nail all these down with clout nails. And once those are all nailed, then we can start cutting out our GRP. So what we do is we cut everything out to size, all the pieces we need. It's best to cut them first before you start mixing your resin. Roll them up, put them aside in order. So once you start glassing, you just keep moving. So we start glassing from the front of the extension, which is where the gutter is, and we work our way to the back. So it takes some time for certain areas to dry. So we do half of the roof, then we take a break for about an hour. Then we can walk on it again and continue doing the top part. You might notice as well, we've put the window in. So we do have to put the window in first. That's all in. And that gets fiberglassed in as well. So also you can see I'm using a paddle roller to consolidate the fiberglass, which is a must as well. Otherwise you'll get lots of pinholes and air bubbles. So now we are inside the extension. So we're taking the existing French doors off and we're installing them into the extension. That way we can get the house closed back up straight away. Also, if you notice on the outside, we've also put some membrane as well, breathable membrane on the exterior of the building, which waterproofs it. I got some LED flashing as well going around the window, some detail there. And again, we removed the kitchen window and moved it forward. So we've got quite a bit of steel work to do in this extension. We've got some old existing steels that are not strong enough for what's going on in this extension, so we've got to remove those. We're also putting insulation in from underneath the roof. Got quite a lot of insulation, 2 layers of insulation here. I think about 175 mil. And then on top of that, we're also using a quilted membrane as well. So it's very well insulated, this extension. It's going to be very warm. So what we do is we staple this on to the joists from below. And I can see I'm taping up some of these joints as well with foil tape. And we've also got to insulate the walls as well. So in between all of these joists, the wall joist stud walls, you can see we're putting insulation in as well. So similar to the roof above, we're cross battening the ceiling as well. So all the cabling will be running in that area, as well as spotlights. They'll be quite thin, low profile spotlights. So no need to drill through the insulation. So here now we're preparing to remove these old steels, which was quite a challenge here. We've got some brick piers to build up as well. So as you can see there, we are getting ready to build those up now. So we installed some starter kits to the walls, which is what helps to tie the bricks to the existing wall. And we're going to build these piers up because we need to extend the existing piers out a little bit longer. And as you can see, we're doing the right hand side the same thing as well. So now we can start with plasterboarding the ceiling. You guys can see it's quite straightforward, just like you normally would. And we're screwing these to the cross battening underneath the ceiling. So at this point we can do all the ceiling, we can do all the walls. We're still waiting for the steels to be delivered, so we're doing what we can in the meantime. Also on the inside of this extension, we need to sheath it again with ply, so you can see there's a lot of structural integrity now. We also got to put a vapor barrier on the walls here. We don't need a vapor barrier for the ceiling because the insulation that we use, the foil insulation, is a vapor barrier as well. So I think we're pretty much going as far as we can with the plasterboard while we're waiting for the steels to come in. We've also got to put in these huge pad stones to support the new steel beams, so we're putting those in and getting them all ready. So you can see now we're starting to get ready to get these old steels out. We're using the Genie lift to support everything. We've got to get out the old pad stones and try to break these steels out, then we can lower them down. There's actually 2 steels here together side by side. We'll be replacing this with one large steel. So you can see we got it here, but being the size of it and where we've got all the Acro supports, it's very difficult to get it out, so we have to cut it in half and that way we'll be able to get it out easily. You can see how rusty these old steels were. They were not treated. Well, the new steels that we put in have all been rust treated and been painted to prevent them from rusting. So that's the old steels out, and here's the new massive ones going back in. Really heavy, these things. You can see here we're using a genie lift to get them up. So we've let those pad stones cure for a few days as well. As you can see, we've dropped the first one in nice and easy. So we've got about 4 pieces of steel to put in here, and they all interconnect with each other. So they're pre-drilled, pre-designed, and they all bolt together. So the end of this one, the left hand side, actually sits on the living room wall. So we had to put a pad stone in that wall. As you can see, we're putting some more pad stones in where the old steels were, because we're replacing those old steels with some new steels as well. So we got to put in some pad stones there. So the reason why there's 2 steels running parallel in the back of the house is one supports the rear of the wall and the other supports the roof of the extension. The one that supports the roof of the extension, the larger one, also supports the one running 90 degrees to the living room, which supports the upper bathroom walls for the upstairs, because we were actually knocking out the middle wall, which you can see we started to take out. We're really going to be opening up the space. So essentially we've taken 2 walls of the house out downstairs. You can see here how to trim just a slight little bit of this off. I did order it a couple of centimeters longer because I just wanted to make sure. And what I did is I trimmed it off, and then I painted the ends of it with some bitumen paint. So now all of our steels are in. We can start taking down this second wall, which you can see what we're doing there. And we're packing in the wall above, and we're also adding in some extra timber framing that we can plasterboard. So we're using this pink board, which is a fire rated plasterboard, which we need to use to encase the steel. It gives it the recommended fire protection. And now it's time to do some plastering. So we're just bonding up all these areas using some hardwall, and then we will be skimming these areas after. So you might notice one of the guys is painting one of the steels, which we didn't encase. He's painting it with some fireproof paint or intermittent paint, because that steel will be remaining exposed. So because it's exposed, it needs to have a different type of protection over it. So we're just continuing to box in all the rest of the steels. We're also creating a small entrance way here, partition, to close the extension or the rear of the house from the hallway. So we're just building a stud wall here, and there will be one door. So now the steels are in, we can finish off the last bits of plasterboard that we had started before. And soon we can get ready to start skimming. So it's skimming day now. We've taped all the joints up to prevent cracking. And first coat of multi-finish is going on. So it's a 2-coat system. So we apply the first coat, we flatten it off. And then when it's ready, we apply the second coat, flatten it off, and then we polish. Once we're done, this will be ready for paint. So where you see me now is where the new kitchen is going to be. Same area where the old kitchen was. So this is the point where you get real satisfaction on the job. It starts to feel like it's sort of coming towards completion. because once this dries, it's in for the decorators, and within a few days they can transform the space. You can see the ceiling is drying already. We're back on another day. Started hitting the walls. So I also use a speed skim as well that helps to flatten the walls out real nice, and just helps to speed up your work. So now we're skimming up all where our steels were, and it's just a lot of plastering at this stage, probably about 2 days of plastering. And this is the entrance and the partition that we built, so we're also skimming that as well. So a little bit of blending to do there, as you can see, into the existing walls, which were blended in perfectly. You could never tell. So going on with the second coat, as I said, it's a 2-coat system. As you can see, there's some existing coving here as well, so we'll be replacing the coving everywhere, keeping the same theme throughout. And as you can see, the boys already started the painting. So there's a few little places that needed finishing off, but the guys have started on the painting where they can. Also, you can see them installing the new coving in as well. So this is a lightweight coving, and use an adhesive to install it. So now we're actually back onto the ground now with the oversight. So we hadn't finished the oversight yet, but as you can see, we've laid the insulation. We've also run some pipe work in it as well for the kitchen, so you can see where the kitchen pipes are going to be. We've also got some upstands insulation as well. So here's the second layer of DPM. So that's the membrane. We put a second layer between the insulation and the wet screed, and we are doing the screed by hand. So we are literally mixing it in the mixer. This is called a dry screed. It's sort of semi-wet, and we're just flattening it down. And this is what the finished floor is going to be on. So we've taken our attention to the outside now. So the outside of the house used to have a patio, and what we've done is, obviously, we've put the new extension where the patio was. So we're moving the patio forward and relaying the existing stones which we kept and put aside. So it's the same size patio as it was before, 3 meters. And we just we put some hardcore down, we compacted it. We've got some sharp sand here which we leveled out, and we're laying the stones on that. So this is all laid dry, there's no cement or anything. And once this is all laid, then we'll use a compactor on it and compact it all. So now we was waiting for a good weather day. We're back on the roof, as you saw really briefly. The guys started painting the roof, and in between we're doing a little bit of gardening as well, just tidying up some of the old garden with some fresh soil. And I have been back since then, and the grass has grown quite beautifully in those areas. So we're waiting for this kitchen, and kitchen has arrived. So time to install our kitchen. So we've got a temporary sink, temporary worktop and temporary sink here while we're waiting for the quartz worktops to be delivered. So in the meantime, we're on the outside. We're installing some fire rated cement boards on the outside. So you can see we put some more battens again. Now we're putting the cement board, and this gives us our required fire protection. This gets wrapped all the way around the house, including the left hand side, which we did. So now we're just preparing for the rough casting. So we're using this product, which is called LW1, and it's a K-Ren product that we apply and we use to dash the pebbles into. So sorry I haven't got any footage. I didn't get any footage of it. It was a messy day, a busy day. I didn't get to do much footage of it, but essentially we just apply it like we typically do K-Ren, and we dash the pedals into it. We went for sort of a rough cast look. If you look at the existing house, if you were able to see it, you would see what the pattern of the existing house is. So we tried our best to sort of mimic the rough cast on the existing house. This has obviously been painted, so you know, don't worry about how it looks. As you can see here, the guys have been painting. They've come in, and the guys were painting this day. As you can see what it looks like, that's the rough cast finish. We're just cleaning around certain areas. We've got a silicone and stuff like that. You can see we put the gutters in and into the gully, the new gutters. Also the sink has also been connected, and we've painted the bottom blockwork in black to match the existing side of the house. If you look down the right hand side of the house, you'll see it has that black painting at the bottom. So you can see the guys are just painting here. So this is pretty much the outside finished. We just got a little bit of painting to do around the internal reveals. The guys had just done the rough cast around these areas, so we just got to come back and paint these and put a security light back on. Not sure that I have the footage of that, but we did come back and finish that off. And you can see the patio is all done as well. So last thing to do here was just to put some dry sand within the joints and compact it. So moving back inside, the kitchen is installed. You can see the boys are doing some tiling here. We're doing a metro tile. So you can see the quartz worktops were installed. They were installed by the supplier. Look really good. So you've got a little wine rack here, which I think should be the same color as the kitchen, but this is the way it came. And so we've got this sort of island in the middle here. Very beautiful worktop. You can see we've got our washing machine. The existing washing machine was reused, and the dishwasher is beside it inside the door. You can see the worktops and Belfast sink. So we've got to install the tap, which we will do straight after. You can see the join that they've done here, which was done very well. We've got a range cooker in here again, which looks good. Gasman came in and connected that up. So literally you saw the guys doing the tiling, which was right after this clip, and they finished it off. And this is what the space looks like. You can see the steel has been painted as well in the color to match as best as possible the kitchen units. And yeah, I think it came out really well. What do you guys think? So just a few little details, carpentry bits to do, and we're wrapping it up on that day. The guys done really well on the tiling, and this is what we've done. So we pretty much got all the tiling done. You can see we've got our trims here. We've done it all the way up to here, all the way underneath the cabinets, around the window, and all the way to the end. So this end here, I'll show you this, we did the detail here. So this end here, it came up too wide for a tile to go in, or too small for a tile to go in, too wide for grout. So we just filled it in with cement just to give it some stability. And then we've got some window trim, which we're gonna silicone on here once that's dry, and just see silicone around it. Obviously with silicone around the worktops and everything. So it's ready to grout. We've got to give it 24 hours. Then we can grout all the tiles, silicone everything. And yeah, that's the kitchen done. So guys, that is it. We are off. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We shall be back on the next video. I'm not sure which one tomorrow. So please make sure you tune in for that. Please like, comment and subscribe for more videos, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care and thanks for watching.